अस्सलामुअलैकुम गाइस, कैसे हैं आप? उम्मीद करते हैं आप सब खैरियत से होंगे, खुश होंगे और हमारी दुआ है कि हमेशा खुश रहते और मुस्कुराते रहे। मेरा नाम है रहमान अनवर
और मैं हूं
और मैं ज़फ़र इकबाल।
और आज हम जिस वीडियो पर रिएक्ट करने जा रहे हैं, इस वीडियो का टाइटल है लाइज अबाउट इंडिया स्पेयर्ड बाय फॉरेनर्स। तो करते वीडियो स्टार्ट, उससे पहले वीडियो को लाइक, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब ज़रूर कीजिएगा। तो देखते हैं।
I think India is really number one. Not just that, India is probably number one, number two, and number three.
This is Andy Lim, an entrepreneur from Singapore who moved to India to start a business 18 years ago. Andy shared the biggest misconceptions about India in Western media, explained why some Indian restaurants ask for payment in advance, and revealed the unwritten rules for doing business in India. I'm Max, a YouTuber and entrepreneur. Let's go!
What's the biggest misconception about India from the rest of the world, or from the Western world?
The Western media always like to project India as a poor slum, overpopulated, very low GDP, very undeveloped, very uncultured. So it's a lot of negative things that we say about India, but it's most of these are untrue. You cannot say that the country is backdated when they have very fast 5G network. You cannot say that they are very unconnected when they have one of the best airports in Asia. Example, Mumbai airports and Delhi airports are very advanced. Though not very futuristic, but what they are supposed to have, they have it in the airport. The restaurants, the shops, the retail, they have all of them. When you try to say like country is very poor, not true also, because their growth right now is also very exponential. So you could be reporting something that's very 10 years ago or 20 years ago versus what you have right now. Very strong IT, very strong finance hub, very strong pharmaceutical, very strong car manufacturing, very strong commodity manufacturing, steel, iron, oil. So it's not true to say that it's like 30 years before China. It's not true. Some aspects they are, like rural area development, they are behind. If you compare like richness versus richness, then India is also very advanced. I think there are top 5 number of billionaires in Asia. I think probably like number 4 or something. Also super rich, but they don't report that so much. And they also don't report that most of the food on the table is organic. People in Western world would spend a lot of money buying organic food, right? But there it's already very organic. We don't report that. And also we don't report that their healthcare system is very affordable. The best doctors, the best knowledgeable ones, the best practical ones are also in India. They don't report that as well. More on the negative reporting, not so much on the positive. That's the biggest misconception.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, it's kind of, let's say, American media, they portray China is like
human trafficking.
Very bad.
Yeah.
But like India, do you think India also like perceived as an enemy to the Western world? So why the reputation is actually worse than the reality for India?
I think the Western world reports India in a backdated world, but not so much as an enemy. Western world doesn't report India as an enemy. In fact, they are trying to bring them up also. Western world is trying to bring Vietnam and India up in manufacturing and IT. If you realize, a lot of the top companies CEOs are also Indian. It's unlikely that India is an enemy of US. But however, saying that, India wants to have a stance on its own. It doesn't want to become like the China of US like 20-30 years ago. China became a manufacturing hub for the Western world 30 years ago. That's how they boom overnight. India doesn't want to be like this. India wants to stand on its own ground. They want to believe that they are strong not because of foreign investment. They are strong because of their own knowledge, their own culture, not because of Western pushing. Unlikely India will become like enemies 20-30 years later of the Western world. Very unlikely. More likely they would be on their own ground. They will be, friends, and they will still become friends and foes of, example, China. They have the border issue, but they will not be like extreme. I will not be too friendly with you, but I will also not be an enemy of you. And that has always been a historical trend. India doesn't invade others in history. It was always being invaded, like Alexander the Great invaded India, the Mongols in today's world, Iran, Afghanistan invaded India, but they never invaded others. Still, they have some differences with China and Pakistan, but they don't invade others. So I don't think they want to actively become enemies with anyone. But still, they will still try to grow their own defense and make sure they're super strong. And in time to come, they will, because they launched the cheapest and good rocket to, I think was Moon, right?
Yeah.
At a fraction of Tesla's cost. Imagine what they can do with their defense budget. Good weapons at an affordable price. I mean, they are already working on that right now as we speak. Better planes, submarines, warships. They are really growing super fast the last 10 years after the new government came up. Definitely a force to reckon with in the world standing order.
Yeah.
Maybe top 3 for sure in a matter of time. I mean, they've already projected that their GDP will be like number 3 or something. Now it's like number 4, number 5. And because of the sheer size of population, it will just become number 3 by default. If you look at it from a business perspective, it's also good to invest there. GDP is strong, very highly educated, graduates, very affordable land prices, very strong stock market, and very English-oriented legal system. It's like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Even though there are like red tapes, other than India, where else in the world to invest? I mean, of course, there's Southeast Asia nearby, but if you want to grow big, like really scale up, then for sure India will be a good location.
What's like unwritten rules that exist in India, let's say, when you do business? Something that people don't talk about, but they exist.
I think just be careful, be mindful of your debtors, because Indian cultural payment is slow, right? People don't like to pay, but they like to receive. So you may end up delivering goods and services, but your payment comes 1 year later. I mean, it happened to us also. So just be mindful that you are well protected, that your payment comes back at the end of the day. Don't get played out.
And how you make sure that your payment will be on time?
So for my case, I try not to work with small companies. Right. Always make sure that there's something legalized to protect yourself. Always make sure that in case if something goes wrong, something is there to protect you. Because the legal system is not super strong in India. So example, if you have somebody owes you $10,000, so to their legal system is raise a case, go through the small courts, then the high courts, go through the entire process, which will take you years. For $10,000, it takes you years. So it's not worth it. So instead of waiting for that to happen, let's not go that direction. Let's work with maybe bigger companies who are more worried about their reputation, not companies that can close overnight. Because in China it happened frequently. Even big companies, they close and they run away. So just keep yourself protected. Be careful of your debts. I mean, for restaurants also, somebody can just buy a full table and then run away. Then you have to use your CCTV and all these things to catch them. But in the end, you still have to go through a legal system and a long wait. So in the end, it's not worth it. Because I don't have a restaurant in India, but I know it happens often. Freeloaders are common. And only because of that, that's why some of the restaurants, they tend to ask payment first. That too.
How to socialize with Indians? What's the best way to make friends in India?
Beer.
Beer.
Still beer.
Same as everywhere.
Beer is a common language still. Okay, if you go to a city or state which is not so westernized, you try to talk to let's say a woman, just asking for direction, right? Then maybe it's already harassment. Okay, in Delhi and Mumbai it's okay, but imagine you're going to a rural
area.
I mean, you don't talk to a girl, right? Because it's very, they respect their privacy a lot, right? So when you talk to a girl, you have to be careful, right? I mean, you have to mind your manners. When we go to a big city, right? Let's say you go to a bar, when you buy a beer, I think that's like a common language. People are trying to chill out, they are trying to relax over a beer or a whiskey. Right, I mean that's very straightforward. It's a very relaxed way, right? But if you're like, you're a stranger, you're a tourist, right? You're trying to ask for direction in a big city. I think they're okay. Yeah, and then you want to exchange numbers, asking for ways later, or exchange Facebook, Instagram. I think it's okay. No hard and fast rule about how to go about it. People are generally okay about it, but if you go to a rural site, then maybe you have to mind your manners a bit more. Yeah, because more strict. Yeah, more family rules, etc. But for big cities, no problem lah. Ask for direction. You can talk to a stranger, make some friends. Especially in a bar, people are also trying to make friends there.
Yeah.
So it's very casual.
Yeah, I noticed it. People are super friendly.
Super casual.
Super open to talk, actually. They're not afraid, like in big city, they're not afraid to talk with you. They're even like curious, they start asking questions. Yeah.
I mean, you could be even more friendly there in Mumbai as compared to here. In Singapore, you try to talk to a stranger, the first impression is like, they always look down. I mean, I don't mean look down as in looking down on the person. The eyes,
like
the eyeball will be like, no. If you talk to a stranger, the person would try to like size you up. Looking at what you wear or like, the first impression. Like you talk to a stranger, if you're talking from the side, the eyeballs will be like that. It's a Singaporean thing. If you realize, okay. Well, but once that shock is over, then he would start to like talk to you. I'm not sure if you experienced this in Bali or Bangkok, but it's a Singapore thing because people they're still quite wary here, lah. But in Mumbai, Delhi, you won't sense this. You ask the question, you get your answers immediately. It may not be direct answer, you may not be correct, but still people try to answer you. Like initially when I ask for direction, go straight lah. Just go straight. Yeah, straight. It's a generic answer. Go straight. Even though the right place is behind. Hey, go straight lah. Yeah. So initially I was played around a few times lah. Go straight. Actually, it's behind lah. Yeah, but it's a slang thing. It's a cultural thing. Go straight.
What's the common topics that people like to talk about? Like in Singapore, food. Like where you go makan is like the topic that everyone would talk. But what in India?
The first few questions is always, how's your family lah?
How's your family?
How's your daughter? I get that most of the time.
Yeah.
Within the first 3 questions. Singapore, I think it's more subject oriented. Like example, you go to an outing with your friend. I mean, the moment you sit down, it's like maybe not so much about how are you. Hey, what to order? Straight to the point. Since we are here for tea, therefore we straight away go to the subject. But over there it's more relaxed, more casual. How's your family? How's your wife? How's your husband? Example. Yeah. It's more like a casual thing of asking, not really a intrusion of privacy. It's more like a casual thing. But some Singaporean may not like it. Like, why are you asking about my mom? My mom is 75 years old on a wheelchair, example, at home. She's not feeling well. Why are you asking me? So difference in culture, but once you're used to it, I think it's okay.
I noticed it as well. Like even taxi drivers, you chat with them, they're like, oh, do you have wife? Do you have kids? How old are the kids? They're very curious about your family.
But Singapore, no lah. I think it's a private thing.
I think Singaporeans try not to bother you too much. So they like.
They're worried of asking stupid questions.
I don't know. They maybe just don't want to like make you uncomfortable or something.
Sure. And they are also worried of not being part of the subject. When you go out, you always have a meaning. Like example, if you go clubbing, you go football, you go for a beach, it's always about that subject. It's always very focused and subject oriented. Yeah, but when you go out, in example, in India, it's more casual. We don't have a mission tonight. We don't have like a target. But unlike here, when you go out, I mean, in my younger days, tonight we have to get drunk. Tonight we got to get drunk. When you go partying, that's the common target. We have to get drunk. So we don't have that kind of target in India. Just chill and just relax. Hospitality is super strong in India. I'm not sure if you heard about the hotel chain called Taj. Taj is owned by Tata.
Okay.
And they are like
That I know.
top few hotels in the world. Although they are not Marriott's, but they value the hospitality a lot. There's another group called ITC. They make the best hotels in India, and they're always in the palaces. So it's more like a cultural thing, right? And guests, when you come to people's home, they have a saying, they value you as king actually. I think they respect that, you coming all the way, you spending time going into a very local home. So they don't have much, I mean, especially for foreigners, it's not like every day they get a foreigner going inside their home. So it's a kind of prestige also. Sometimes you may get a host showing you off, hey, I got this friend from Singapore, I got this friend from China, I got this friend from Europe.
Yeah.
So for them it's also a kind of pride, I guess. So it's the hospitality and the friendliness, right? In a friend's home, automatically the tone comes down. They're more casual. Yeah, because they are not so, for us we like to, okay, go to Robinson Quay, go to Clarke Quay, but for them they are more homely. So it's always more about a relative's home. That's when they can really calm themselves down and be themselves.
Let me show you some magic. If you click on this video, I will disappear and reappear again. Let's try it. 3, 2, 1.
गो। बिल्कुल यार, बेस्ट वीडियो थी। सर का बहुत अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस है और काफ़ी एक अरसे से, मतलब कई अरसे से वो ना इंडिया में रह रहे हैं, लेकिन उनका एक्सपीरियंस बहुत ज़्यादा है। यहाँ के लोगों के साथ रहना, यहाँ के लोगों की कैसी थिंकिंग है, कैसे वो रहते हैं, कैसे आप एक रिलैक्स फील कर सकते हैं, मतलब जो चीज़ें हैं ना उन्होंने स्पेशली देखी, वो उन्होंने एक बहुत अच्छा एक इंटरव्यू में बताया। सबसे एक स्पेशली यही है, सबसे पहले वो है एक वेस्टर्न मीडिया के बारे में जो उन्होंने बातें बताई है कि जो वो बिल्कुल एक कम्प्लीटली इंडिया के बारे में ये इस्लाम्स, ये ऐसी चीज़ें वो दिखाते रहते हैं कि एक आबादी बहुत ज़्यादा है, कि एक पता नहीं कैसे एक इंडिया जी रहा है, क्या से क्या हो रहा है, कि मतलब पूरा उन्होंने ना एक उधर माइंड वॉश किया हुआ है उधर के लोगों का। लेकिन जो भी इधर एक बार आ जाता है ना, इंडिया में लोगों से मिलता है, एक विज़िट करता है, प्लेसेस देखता है, एक एडवांस लेवल पर जो कुछ चल रहा है वो देखता है, तो वो खुद परेशान रह जाता है बेचारा कि हम अब तक इतना कुछ सुनते हैं इंडिया के बारे में, लेकिन यहाँ अगर एक्सपीरियंस किया है तो बिल्कुल उल्टा है। लोग बहुत अच्छे हैं, जिससे भी आप मिलें आपको बहुत एक प्यार से मिलते हैं, एक प्यार भरा एक उनका मिलना होता है। लेकिन फिर भी यार एक ऐसी कड़वी बातें वो सुनना बहुत मुश्किल होता है। सर का बहुत अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस था, बहुत अच्छी बातें
ऐसे ही है यार। अब देखो ना, एक मतलब कि एक ठीक है, उन्होंने अपना एक बिज़नेस भी स्टार्ट किया इंडिया में और बहुत अच्छी बात है। और भाई एक लाखों करोड़ों में आपको एक बिजनेसमैन मिल जाएंगे जो कि आके अपना एक इंडिया में बिज़नेस एक सेट करते हैं और एक अपनी ख़ास करके फैमिली वगैरह हर चीज़ उन्होंने इधर शिफ्ट की होती है। ये थोड़ा सा एक सोशल मीडिया से एक थोड़ा सा मतलब कि दूर रहते हैं या नहीं एक इंटरव्यू दे पाते, लेकिन लाखों करोड़ों में एक लोग अभी भी इंडिया में बिज़नेस अपना सेट कर बैठे हुए, खास करके सिंगापुर जापान से लोग तो काफ़ी एक तादाद में आकर एक सेट करते हैं ना। लेकिन एक सही है कि जो झूठ फैलाया जाता था ना, वो आज से 10-15 साल पहले था, जब एक सोशल मीडिया का इतना दौर नहीं था, मतलब कि सोशल मीडिया पर इतनी हाइपर नहीं चीज़ें होती थी, एक नॉर्मल ही था हर चीज़। लेकिन अभी कोई बंदा बात नहीं कर सकता, चाहे जो भी हो जाए। आप एक हाल ही में देखा जब एक चंद्रयान 3 लॉन्च करने वाले थे तो कैसे एक कार्टून की शक्ल में एक उन्होंने मतलब कि मजाक उड़ाने की कोशिश की, तो बाद में एक इतना ट्रोलिंग उनको करने को मिली जो कि एक झूठ था, वो ऐसी चीज़ें फैलाते रहते, तो बाद में उनको एक माफ़ी भी भाई एक मांगनी पड़ी थी। तो ऐसे ही एक होता था, जब एक सोशल मीडिया का नहीं दौर था तो वो ऐसे झूठ बोलते थे। अब इसमें कोई डाउट नहीं कि एक फुली कंट्री एक मतलब कि आपको हर चीज़ एक परफेक्ट करके दे दी, ऐसा कोई भी नहीं होता। आप यूएसए में भी चले जाएं तो उधर भी आपको ऐसे लोग मिलेंगे, ऐसे एरिए मिलेंगे जो कि अभी भी डेवलपमेंट इतनी अच्छी नहीं उनकी, तो ऐसे ही चलता है। लेकिन इंडिया भाई अभी तक एक बहुत बेस्ट जा रहा है।
नहीं ऐसे ही है, लेकिन एक इस्लाम्स के ऊपर आया तो इस्लाम्स तो चाइना में भी इतने बड़े बड़े हैं, लेकिन बात ये नहीं है, बात असल में है कि वो एक चीज़ को एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर रहा है कि एक जो वो यही समझते हैं कि जहाँ पे हमने एक इतना अरसा रूल किया वो हमसे आगे कैसे निकल सकते हैं, तो इसलिए वो उनकी एक स्ट्रैटी आप कह लें या वो इस तरह की एक चीज़ें फैला। लेकिन अब काउंटर बहुत ज़्यादा हो जाते हैं, जैसे ही वो कोई मतलब बात इस चीज़ के ऊपर लेके आते हैं, जिस तरह उस दिन एक चंद्रयान के वक्त हुआ तो लोगों ने ऐसा एक काउंटर किया कि उनको एक दफ़ा ना नहीं याद। बाकी भाई उनका एक کافی اچھا ایکسپیرینس تھا. سب سے زیادہ اچھی بات یہی لگی کہ ان کو ایک ہاسپٹلٹی جو ہے نا وہ انڈیا میں بہت زیادہ پسند آئی, خاص کر جو ایک لوگ جس طرح وہ بتا رہے تھے کہ جیسے آپ کسی کو ملتے ہیں تو وہ ضرور آپ سے آپ کی خیریت پوچھیں گے, آپ کی فیملی, آپ کی ماتا کے بارے میں. تو ادھر سنگاپور میں جو ہے نا وہ اگر کو پوچھے تو وہ سیدھی ہو جاتا ہے کہ آپ کو کوئی تکلیف ہے. تو یہ چیزیں دیکھو نا ہمارے ادھر کامن ہے, ہم اس چیز جو ہے نا یہی ہمارا ایک اچھا ایک اخلاق ہے کہ ہم ایک بندے کے اندر ایک گھسنے کی کوشش کرتے ہیں, یا مطلب اس کو اس حد تک اپنے ساتھ اٹیچ کرتے ہیں کہ اس کو کسی قسم کی کوئی ایک ریس جو ہے نا وہ فیل نہ ہو. لیکن بھائی ان کا ایک کافی اچھا ایکسپیرینس تھا. باقی چھوٹے چھوٹے مسئلے ایک جو ہے نا وہ انہوں نے بتایا وہ ابھی ایک امپروو کرنے والے ہیں, لیکن ظاہری بات ہے وہ ایک کورٹ ہمارے جو اس طرح کا سین بنا ہوا ہے ان میں ابھی کافی چینج کرنے کی ضرورت. لیکن پھر بھی ایز پر اگر انہوں نے بھائی ایک کافی اچھا ایکسپیرینس کیا ہے ہر حوالے سے, چاہے ایک ہوٹلز کے حوالے سے یا ایک کھانے پینے بارز یا ایک آؤٹ رورل ایریاز میں تھوڑا سا ظاہری بات ہے کچھ چیزیں ہوتی ہیں آپ جو ہے نا وہ کھل کے نہیں, لیکن سٹی ایریا میں آپ جو ہے نا وہ کافی حد تک جو ہے نا وہ اوپن ہے آپ کی ہر طرح سے جو ہے نا وہ ہیلپ. لیکن اچھا ایکسپیرینس تھا یار,
بہت اچھی ویڈیو تھی ان کی یار. تو امید کرتے ہیں آپ کو ویڈیو پسند آئے گی. اگر پسند آئے ویڈیو کو لائک, چینل کو سبسکرائب ضرور کیجیے گا. ملتے ہیں نئی ویڈیو کے ساتھ, تب تک کے لیے اللہ حافظ.